What?
Hey, everybody, you're listening to the Wombo Podcast. I'm Chip Monk, and with me, as always, is the Mr. Gimpy.
What's going on, Chip? How's it going today, dude?
It's doing pretty good. Just living out here, chilling. Finished up that dice game. Happy about that.
Hell yeah, dude. Congrats, man. Congrats.
I had like a weird, moment where like afterwards I was like, now what do I do? Because it's like so consuming during the time. So I just took like a day to reset where I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to look into some different technologies, see what's happening.
Yeah.
So I tried to make 2D sprites in Blender 3D to get them to export. So I was messing around with that. I got pretty far along. Everything's very finicky in that program. Like you have to do things in a specific order or they just don't work.
You're making a 2D asset in a 3D program. Like, I mean, I guess that in itself sounds finicky.
Yeah, it is. What have you been up to, man?
No. Hold on. Why use Blender to make a 2D asset when you have other 2D programs that are made for that specific purpose?
It takes just as long.
Really?
Right? Like, okay. Yeah, so I've gotten proficient in both things. So it takes me equal amounts of time to do something in 3D as it does in 2D. So I can go from like a quick sketch to realization of that sketch in 3D. And then 3D allows just more flexibility. Whereas like if you do something in 2D and you want to change it, like you have to go back and redo every single sprite. Whereas if you do it in 3D, like you just change it and then like you export it and it automatically generates all like the angles of like whatever change you made.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of like the idea behind it, but still kind of a pain in the ass to deal with. So yeah,
so it sounds like there's a reason that people don't all migrate to this, though, right? Is it?
It's a skill set. It's hard to learn. It's hard. It's easier to learn 2D. Like it's very straightforward. It's tactile. Okay. You understand it. 3D relies more on your fundamental knowledge of art, whereas like you're trying to abstract things into a 3D space already, and it's hard to get things to look nice in 3D. Especially if you go from 3D back to 2D. So it's like you're taking something that's like, rounded and then you're trying to flatten it out. It's it's a bit of a challenge. So it's like you have to have like a better, stronger understanding of art fundamentals to do 3D. Whereas 2D, you can kind of wing it. And like either way, like you know if something looks good or not at the end of the day. So
yeah.
And I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying like why most people don't do 3D is like it's an entire skill set you have to learn. Like you have to learn animation. You have to learn like how things interact with each other. You have to learn like UV unwrapping, texturing. Whereas all that's already done in 2D. Like your UV textures, you painting the object in your
thing. Yeah. Right.
Whereas like you have to like create it, then extrapolate that, and then repaint it, and then recombine it together, and then hopefully it looks nice at the end of the day.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's why I think more people are going to 3D and then bringing it to 2D.
Okay. Do you think the like Arc System Works kind of painting of 3D models is making that a popular thing, or is it just a natural evolution of the cycle of asset creation?
I think it's just stylized looks. I think it's hard to make things realistic and look nice in 3D. So stylized takes just as long, but it looks nicer at the end of the day. So it's like, do I want us to look like hand drawn with outlines? Do I want it to look cell shaded? The Breath of the Wilds, you got your other things that turn 3D into pixel. Like there's a few games that have done that, like, but you wouldn't know, like, like if it's done well, like you just don't know, right? It's like it's all smoke and mirrors.
True. There's some stuff that I think still holds up really well today. Like let's look at like Jet Grind Radio, right? Or for those of us not in the US, Jet Set Radio and Jet Set Radio Future, which had the same name across the entire board. But super stylized, right? Still looks absolutely incredible today. It's there's something to be said about having your own unique style. It doesn't matter what what platform you're on, what program you use. If you have enough style, your product will be timeless. I
Yeah,
think
World of
certain games
Warcraft.
I think certain games like have enough style to where, it doesn't matter what they were on, when they were released,
Yeah,
it would be great no matter what. And Jet
Team
Grind Radio
Fortress
is one of
2,
those. TF2, yep, I agree with that. Uh, Even some
Portals.
games, Portal, very, very stylish, where from its simplicity, it's like, simplicity plus the abstract gameplay just really lends it to itself, in the comedy, with the unreliable narrator and GLaDOS herself. So it's some really good stuff, and some things to really put in the back of your mind when you're making something. Uh, yeah. So that's good, man. So as far as stuff I've been up to, man, like we said with the last episode, I've been game deving myself.
What have you gotten done, man?
I spent the last leg of my Thursday workday working on game dev stuff. So
Nice, man. Congrats.
I mapped out the first level pretty much completely. I'm gonna go and redo my AI pathfinding just because it's been a while since I've looked at it, and it's just not. It's the enemy. I'm just using blocks right now as placeholders, and there's a certain point in the level where the pathfinding, they get stuck and start like rotating around. I think
The
I have
death
to like
spiral.
widen. Yeah, I think I have to widen the area at the very least, but I figure if I just redo it, then I'll have it fresh in my mind to do it. And now I just have it like looking at my mouse cursor. I'm so we'll see how that goes. But
I was running into a similar problem with pathfinding where if a object picked a path that it couldn't get to, it would like just not know what to do.
Would
right?
it stand still, or would it spin?
No, it would just keep trying to go to the area that was outside. Okay. But like there was no way to be like, hey, if you can't reach this within like X amount of time, like try and like repath to like a different area. Cause I was just picking like random, like on the screen. I was like, all right, let me try and pick like random vectors, and then like I'll create like a simple path for this to like try and follow. But it was like I'll pick a random spot, and then it was like, oh, I can't reach that. And then like so there's not a great way to design like a behavior tree in GDevelop. Like you have to like make it yourself, and like I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to do that for like a quick one screen like demo, but like it's probably a great skill to like do. But I've run into similar problems with 3D programs like Unity, where I'd actually make a behavior tree, and I'd get like I call it like the ant death spiral, because like there's ants, and like there's like go into a death spiral like when the queen dies or something. It just keeps circling.
Yep.
So I always call like the enemy death spiral the ant spiral. But yeah, it's hard to do.
It is. I worked on that, so I'm redoing it, and I'm actually impressed by how much I remember on how I did this. And I noted I had notations on my code, and it actually made sense. Because there's something that you put notes on your own code, and then you hope to God that it makes sense later when you pick it up, right? And it actually made sense. So I'm like, okay, leveled up. So working on some pathfinding there. I do have my walk cycle complete. And am I editing this, or are you? I can't remember.
You are. I did the last.
So I will put that up right there for those watching on YouTube to show that character. Character is not complete, but the walk cycle, I would say, is feature complete. So that felt good getting that done. I feel some progress, man, and I'm hoping to show you very soon. Some stuff going on. So, like I said, you doing your dice game really just it's inspirational, man. Having people grinded and completing stuff that it's a great motivator. Not just kind of like to one-upsmanship, but also going, he did this. It's fantastic. I can do this too, and it's kind of working together. So good stuff. Other than that, since I hit Onyx in Halo, I was just gonna make a montage V2 for my journey to Onyx. Just as and like I said, these montages are purely for me. I'll put it on publicly, and we'll see. People might shit on it, they might not. Who cares? But I had a lot of fun getting there. I have a lot of fun making montages. I was talking to a buddy, and maybe if anyone knows about this in the comments, feel free to, if you're on YouTube, to let us know. But I hate using Twitch's VODs for scrubbing through things to get content, because
Yeah.
when Twitch saves your VOD, it saves it and compresses it again.
Yeah.
So the quality just dumps so far below what
Becomes
it
a
was on
dumpster fire.
stream versus what it was on
It's like the number
live.
one complaint I had for when I was doing like quick like play videos of my Overwatch. It's like I would take the VOD, encode it, then re-upload it, and people are like, "Why does this look like shit?" And I'm like, because of what I'm doing." So like I had to start recording, locally. And,
so I have an idea for next time, because my goal was to do 3 or 4 Halo montages, just in general, because looking it through my Halo career and back when I used to do sanctioned tournaments and stuff, I have like 2 or 3 pictures of myself like post tournament for things for memory, right? I like, and then the plays that I've made, the plays that have happened, they're up in my head, right? I just wanted something that I can go back to years later going, yeah, this was fun, this is a good play, so that's what the montages are for. They're really for me. But some nutty stuff's been happening. I got a triple kill with the Sentinel Beam, which is pretty dumb. Some good stuff. I've been going through and compiling the clips, and then I'm just disenchanted by the quality of the Twitch VOD. So I was looking into ways of recording my gameplay, not only while I'm streaming, but just when I'm playing in general. A buddy was like, "Hey, you have NVIDIA use Shadow Play." My thought is I want the full quality, but I don't want the performance hit. So I'm actually going to test, because I have a NAS set up and I have 2 terabytes free for whatever. I'm going to use that 2 terabytes and use it as a media scrubber. So my quality or my stream will go to that. It'll just be pure gameplay, and I'm hoping that'll have the full quality that I can just go back and forth. So I don't know if anyone has a solution for this. I'm all ears, but
I had
I'm
to
hoping
just
that works out.
mess with like settings, so I made like the stream slightly worse, but the recordings were better. So I was able to stream without taking too much of a performance hit. It was a lot of trial and error. It's hard to do. It's going to be annoying for everyone watching you stream. So I don't know. I think there's a way to set up like a shadow private stream where like you're not actually streaming to people. And then like you can like run tests in that black box. It's just going to be just a couple of, I would say it took me like an hour or 2 to do to like get right. And after that, it was fine. But I know there's like different solutions. I still want to buy the foot pedal so I can like clip out like things while I'm playing and be like, oh, that was a great moment. Let me, tap this USB foot pedal and then like have like a timestamp that I can go back to. But yeah, there's something about like having all your old stuff. Like I was
it really is.
Grabbing clips for like the last episode we uploaded of like just different stuff I was messing with. Although like I went in that same folder and I looked further back and I had stuff from like 2 years ago and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe like I had the foresight to like just record this like for no reason. And like I just have like copyrighted music and stuff. So it's not stuff I can like upload anywhere, but it's like just me like talking about it, like blasting like some like Metallica or something. I'm like, this is great.
Man. Yeah, definitely. Speaking of which, I do want to use one of your tracks for my next montage, by the way. So I'll catch you up on that. So it'll be cool. I just figured just get the whole squad in, because when I hit Onyx, I thanked everyone who's on the team while on my journey there, and no matter what, I think in any team oriented thing, it's not only when you're playing, but it's also the outside factors, right? You got your buddies just like propping you up, saying how you can do it and stuff like that. So
the real Onyx was the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. So just with you and I doing this combo wombo stuff, with you and I doing game dev stuff, I just want to have a little bit of that camaraderie and friendship in my next montage, because we've been talking about this for weeks since the game came out. So and you've been supporting me on the stream and everything else too. So I think having one of your tracks on there will really solidify it. So it'll be pretty sick.
Do you want me to make like an original track for this?
If you want, dude. I don't want to put you out, but yeah, dude, that'd be sick.
I haven't messed with a DOS in a minute, bro. Like I might have to.
It'd be cool, right? I'm not trying to make the montage long, like maybe a minute, if that, So
it's tall order. I'll see what I can do.
Right.
What are you looking for? What kind of music?
I honestly don't know. Like a lot of your stuff's usually hip hop oriented. If you, I don't know if you're still in that genre. I could do, like a hard rock or
got all kinds of stuff, dude. I was
techno thing or a
trying to
synth?
put music into my game for like a menu,
Yeah.
and then I like went to my music and I like it's like there's like a bunch of like unlabeled like MP3s in there, and I was like, huh. And like I opened it up, I started listening. I was like, dang, this is a banger. I was like, where did I get this from? And I was like, oh, I made this. What? And then I realized like that entire folder was just like music I had made and I'd just forgotten about.
Yeah.
It was like anytime like I find like a cool little like loop or something, I'm like, oh, let me just save this, even though like I have no plans to upload it anywhere or do anything with it.
Speaking of which, I found I know you were. I told you we were cleaning out our storage room and stuff. One of the things that I had to do was when my wife and I got married, we had a videographer, and we were like, I just want the raw video because I'll edit it myself because I don't want anyone else touching it or having their own editing style because I have my own, right? You were at my wedding, and my wife and I had a lightsaber battle, so I'm gonna add the lightsaber effects and stuff too. So, but the
play the song, right?
Yeah, yep. We
was a Battle of the Fates.
Yep, Duel of the Fates. Yep,
Duel of the Fates. So, there you
go. We did that, and then we bought a house shortly after, right? Yep. We lost the wedding video when we moved, so we were cleaning out the storage room, found the wedding video. So that's actually so why I'm doing this montage is to get so familiar with DaVinci Resolve. So when I'm doing my wedding video editing, that can be as seamless as possible. My plan for that is to have it ready for my wife and I, our anniversary in June. So, nice. that's like the bigger thing. So when you were saying that it's you had the foresight to record things, really that is one of the things where I implore anyone, if anyone is doing anything in the creative field, record some stuff, even if it's random stuff. You'll be surprised by what
document the process.
Later. Yeah, exactly.
At least some of it. Like I don't know, like even some things I've just been putting on Snapchat where I'm like, oh, this isn't great quality or whatever, but like it's just fun to share. And like I don't know, I wish I had done like more of it, looking back at like some of the old stuff and like doing some of the newer stuff. I'm like, I don't need to document everything, but like even just like 2-3 years ago, I'm like, man, I got so much stuff. And I know I have like a external hard drive in the other room too, where I have like everything from like the last 20 years on there, I think.
Damn.
It's a lot of stuff on there from like the 90s, dude. I got stuff in there from the 90s that I did in like 3D and stuff, where I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure I saved some stuff from there, but I'm not too sure. It's like websites and stuff that I've done and like just a bunch of stuff on there, but like I know it's there and I'm not sure how good or well kept any of that stuff. I know I have like text documents in there too of like different ideas and game design docs and stuff that I just never did anything with, but it's great. It's great to just have that stuff to like dust off every once in a while, like man, when you're feeling a bit nostalgic or like we talked about like roadblocks and stuff that you might run into as well, and like it's good to like just kind of go back and see like where you
started, right?
And like social media always like puts us out in a weird competition trying to compare us to others, but I think like it's best to compare yourself to like where you started and like where you've come and like the amount of growth you'll experience like in 5, 10, 15, 20 years is like
it's like you're your own biggest rival, right?
Absolutely.
You have to have that anime rivalry with yourself, like your mirror self, man. And I think most anime will do that, right? Eventually, like Ichigo fought the hollow version of himself, right? And from Bleach, and Naruto's like demon form was, yes, it was the nine-tailed fox, but it was also kind of like a projection of himself, in the primal rage.
It's a trope. You gotta battle yourself from yesterday.
That trope exists in life. Maybe not as dramatic as the anime portray it, but there's things to strive for, and then there's you looking back and seeing how well you've done.
I think I have that game that me, you, and the boys made, The Room, The Key.
Yeah,
I think that's on there, dude. I think that is on that hard drive. I'm pretty sure.
We made that in what, like an hour or two or something like that?
Yeah, it's like all of us working together. It's like it's great.
That was awesome. Yeah, man, that was a good time. I was working on a second game after we finished The Key. I was working on, which is funny because your dice game reminded me of it, a dice game of my own where it was a dungeon crawler and you shook your phone to roll the dice and that decided combat. And I was like, I should redo this. Like, I just have the design doc for it. I don't have any assets. I'm like, that seems fun. It's like just a quick little mobile game. So I might look into that. We'll see. But I'm just trying to focus in on the stealth game. But
one thing at a time, man.
Exactly.
It's tough.
But it's funny seeing your old stuff, right? So I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So we talk about games a lot, game creation, games that are out, things coming up. And we've actually even expanded to talking about like our own mental blocks or what we like. I'm looking at a lot of our old content and stuff. Speaking of going back and looking, we're pretty positive about a lot of aspects of gaming, game design, and even when things we don't agree with, we hope for the best, right?
Even bad games.
I want to switch gears, dude. I want to switch gears a little bit. There's something about games and there's gaming genres where I think everyone has something that they just don't like, that they don't click with, that it just doesn't work for them.
It's just not for me. It doesn't make it bad. It's just not my cup of tea.
Exactly. And we touched on this a little bit with our MMO episode back in the day, where I just don't, it doesn't work for me, right? MMOs.
Yeah.
And you told me like your love of Lineage and like the experience with it and some of like the emergent gameplay that came from it from a community and all of it seemed awesome. It just still doesn't work for me.
It didn't grip you.
Yeah, it doesn't grip me. Now, I was thinking now that, especially because not only with this dice game, but I feel like you yourself, myself, we are getting back into the groove of making things, right? Of actually creating. There's going to be genres that I absolutely love that I'm just going to jump right in and start making a game for. There's going to be a genre I'm going to avoid, including a lot of mechanics from it. There's one genre that I just cannot stand games in, and it's just because it's not made for me. That genre, I'll start off, man. If you have one, we'll get to you. But
go back and forth here.
Just mark this because I'm sure people will be like, "What the hell? How do you not like this?" I absolutely hate survival games. I don't care for Rust, Minecraft. What are some other Terraria?
Don't Starve.
Don't Starve is the exception.
Valheim,
just not a big fan of. Why? Part of it is the aimlessness of it. I need a goal, and like Minecraft, I got to the Ender Dragon, killed it, and played it with my wife for a bit. We made bases and stuff. We made a giant community, and when you're done with that goal, there's no reason for me to want to play more of it.
It's
like we can make more stuff. I'm like, I don't want to make more stuff.
Make your own fun.
Yeah, it's like I want to. No, Valheim. My wife absolutely loved Valheim. My wife actually got really good at Valheim too. Like she knew stuff about that game. That
it has some of the best base building for survival games too. Like just because it forces you to make like a natural architecture where like if you like put a fireplace in there, like smoke starts to build out and like you have to like build a chimney. So like it creates like a natural organic home feel or like the design is very human.
Exactly. My wife absolutely loved that. She loved like making a farm in there. And then I was like, the only thing in this game I'm even remotely interested in is the questing. So, go quest it, but then you'd have to like get stuff to get better armor and stuff. I'm like, and people were always like, let's just go item grabbing. And I'm like, I fucking logged off. It's like, if you guys get items, just let me know. Because I'll jump in.
Let me know when there's something to do. Like that was kind of my experience with both those games as well with we'd play as a group and like in Minecraft after I beat the Ender Dragon, I'm like, all right, I'm done with this. And then Valheim, I was like, we got to the point where we were trying to capture like the snow wolves, I think, and like tame those. And like nobody else wanted to do it. And I was like, I guess we're done then. Like, we beat the trolls. We found like the other second or third boss that you get because there are bosses in that game. There's like the deer boss. There's another tree boss or something. Like
the end,
Yeah.
And they've added another boss since you and I both played that. I think I'm at the point where unless my wife was like, hey, let's just sit down and play this, I'm probably going to just end up playing it at the 1.0 release. That being said, I'm never going to play it by myself. There's no chance in hell. Don't Starve is the exception because it's also a roguelike though. So there's enough like random generation and me versus the world and emergent gameplay sections where I can survive because of player skill versus just building a bunch of shit. Is that I don't know if that even makes sense, but it does in my head. It's not as, that being said, it's my least played roguelike for sure, but I don't hate it.
Yeah. I think we've like talked about this before as well. We're like, because I think we're both creative people, when the sandbox game is there and it's like you make your own fun, it's like, no, I can actually do that in real
I
life
can
with like
actually
things
make
that,
my own.
yeah, like where it's like if I'm going to spend time like building something, I'd rather like it be in a program where I can like take that to something else. Where it's like if I'm going to work on like art, I'm going to open up like, you know, Clip Studio or Photoshop. If I'm going to work on like building a base, I'd rather do it in like a, you know, Blender 3D or Maya, like, or, you know, 3ds Max or a game engine like Unity. And then like actually be able to explore those spaces. And then like it's also a sandbox, but then I create like the rule set that goes along with it. But there's something about like, you know, limitation being the mother invention and like, you know, helping you be more creative when you have like sets. But I do that already with like asset sets and stuff that I buy, and I'm like, oh, what can I make with this, and like cobble together real quick. And I'll do that to like just try and demo and make something to like see where the fun would be in it, to create like like a bigger rule set on top of that. Whereas like you're already limited in both ways in the game design philosophy of like a sandbox type of environment. But I understand why it's fun for a lot of people, because a lot of people don't want to go that deep with it and like try and like build something like bigger and more creative. And like that's you know, that's great. Or it's like great for like an introduction to it. Like we've talked about like Mario Maker and stuff as well, where it's like some people like it's a ton of fun. For me, I'm just like, it's so hard to make a good level. It's like, why would I want to play a bunch of really bad levels of Mario?
that's the one exception I have. Like I guess it's not a survival game, but I love Mario Maker because it allows me to create levels. Because, you know, like I said, I absolutely love 2D games and I love platformers. Level design is my favorite part of game design. Mario Maker lets me share that in a very quick way. And then to have my kids play the levels I made, right? So that's something that really, as a father, I can share some of my gaming love and knowledge with my kids in a real tangible way. And it's to the point where my daughter or son will help me build levels. And it's a very neat way to get my gaming fix and them to also pursue their creativity.
And I feel like that's what most people get from those sandbox survival games. It's like they have like their group of friends and stuff, and it's like they can share something that they create in a meaningful way with like the community that they build in those instances. Like I said, like I feel like they're more suited to like those like summer vacation days, like when you're still in school, like you have like a lot of free time to like burn, and like you don't have the ability to like go meet in person or whatever. And it's like it creates like that type of feeling. Whereas I think like we're born in the wrong era, bro. Like if we were growing up today, I think we would have loved these type of games.
Yeah.
You know, instead we had to go outside and like find our own fun.
right. Here's a stick and a rock. Have fun.
If you're lucky, a bicycle.
For sure. But yeah, man, survival games. And it's the point where the genre itself is so established where I just don't see myself ever getting into it. There's a portion like Fallout. I absolutely love the Fallout series, for example. And Fallout 4, even though it's completely optional, like the base building kind of survival mechanics that they introduced in that game, I've never played the game purely because of that. And my buddy was like, "That's one of the better Fallouts, dude. You should play it. And just ignore that shit." And I was like, "Yeah, it's already to the point where it's in there." And I gave it like a good 15 hours, and people were like, "Oh, 15 hours in a Fallout game, you haven't played it." Yeah, fuck you. I gave it enough chance.
Passed the tutorial.
No thanks. Yeah. That being said,
have you played Fallout New Vegas?
Yes, it's New Vegas is amazing. New Vegas is
kind of like the definitive edition of that game, where it's like it has a story and a very well thought out narrative that it's trying to tell, and like your actions have consequences, and like everything kind of interacts with you. Whereas like the other games, like they tried to get to what I think like they wanted all along was like Fallout 76, where it's like it's just an open world, man, and you're creating your own fun. And like, you know, they try to deal with like Skyrim as well when they brought it online with their MMORPG, where it's like, oh, now you could live in this living, breathing world. And it's like, yeah, you know, I don't know if I want that. Like, I don't know if I want like base building and like living in like a MMO world. Like I'm good, or like paying a subscription model to it. Like it becomes a bigger buy-in.
For me, I like curated experiences that I can experience, you know, that the developers want me to experience in multiple ways. So that's just me, you know, like I think that's what it is. You know, like choose your own adventure books, you know, like have you ever had one where it's like, no, write your own ending? There's like a line of books like that. I'm like, fuck that. You know,
How dare you?
like, well, you want me to do your job for you, you fucking loser? Like that's how
Right.
I looked at it, you know. Like, I'm not gonna fill in the blank.
I mean, I've done that before with like stories where I'm like the ending like just took a turn. I'm like, you know what? In my mind, this is how this story ends, and
right.
I'm good. This is my definitive edition of like this book ending.
Right.
Or like I've had like series of like TV shows where after it ends, like in my head I'll imagine like what those characters would have gone on to do, or like how they would have dealt with like certain scenarios.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's a lot of there's something to that, but I don't want that to be the selling point of the book or the game that I'm getting, where it's like create your own fun, create your own ending to the story. It's like, man, come on.
Right.
I got better things to do than
like
your job
out
for you, friend.
Right. For sure. So that's mine. That's a genre that I just don't like. And then even when it comes to like reviewing things or recommending it to it, I will always say I don't play these types of games. I am not the person to ask if this is good or not. Like I've had people go, "Hey, do you want to play Terraria with me?" I'm like, "No." They're like, "Why? It's amazing. You'd love it." They state all these gameplay points, and I'm like, "No." You know, so
I tried to get into Terraria as well. My buddy had it, and he was like, "Try it out. You'll love it." And I'm like, I tried it for like half an hour, and I was like, I don't. Why am I doing any of this stuff? Like, there's no narrative, there's no overarching like story, or maybe there is now, but like when I played it, there was like, just create your own fun, like try and survive, and I'm like, I'm good, man. Like, I don't know. It seems like one of those things that it becomes funner with friends, but I've always been of the opinion like any game that you get into with a group of friends, you're gonna have fun with. It becomes just a background to the chat interface to you and your buddies.
True. Before
I just
Xbox
like talking
Live,
with my buddies and hanging out with them, you know. Like,
right.
It doesn't matter what we're doing. Like it's fine.
Do you remember back in the halcyon days of online gaming on console with Xbox Live, before they introduced party chat, you had to pre-agree on a game and go join that game and then invite each other to parties. There was a demo that came out for an America's Army game that it had like animated like voice rigging, so when you talked, your character in the game talked. My buddies and I would all jump into America's Army, discuss what game we actually wanted to play. You could have like a lobby of like 8 to 16 people or whatever, and so we'd just jump in, start talking to each other. That's what we use as party chat. And then when actual party chat came out, honestly, part of me missed America's Army for that like visual like chat interface.
I kind of missed that with Discord a little bit as well, where it's like, man, I wish there was like some sort of like fake facial rig type thing that you could like add on or something. I'm sure there's something, but there's something about that.
A buddy of mine, Poison. I don't know if you've played games with him, but I'm sure you've seen him around. He's been in my he's a mod on my Twitch channel and stuff. His Discord profile picture, it animates when he talks.
Nice.
So he does kind of have that.
Gotta figure out how to do that. I gotta get on Poison's level, dude.
Yeah, right, for sure. Shout out Poison. Yeah, so I do miss stuff like that. So that being said,
there's so many different hamstring solutions back in the day. It was like Ventrilo servers. There's just a bunch of them, man. Like
to this day, I've had I streamed Fighters, right, where it had crossplay, and one person was on like PS4, the other person was on PC, and they couldn't talk to each other. So what I did was I routed my phone audio through like the PS4 joysticks so they could talk to PC people and hear each other. And it was like the most hamstring way of doing it. But you know, when there's a will,
solution,
there's a way.
Modern problems require modern solutions on my Nokia phone.
Exactly right, my Nokia brick. But I just shared my the gaming genre that I just don't have any love for. Now, Chip, the ball's in your court, man. What don't you like?
It's definitely like sports games, like your whatever they're on now, your FIFAs, your Maddens. Are they even calling it Madden anymore? Like
rest in peace, John Madden. They are. Yeah.
Your sports balls, your hockeys. Like for me, like the pinnacle was like NHL '95, and like your Tecmo Bowl on NES, and your NBA Jam. That's it. Like after that, I was like, I'm done, dude. Like I can't even.
Now let me ask you this: do you play any of the sports?
In real life, or
Yeah, or do you
like
have love for playing them in the day? Like, you don't have to play them today, but like in general.
Like back in the day, I used to like be deep into the sports world. I used to play a lot of baseball growing up. I used to play, basketball, never football. Can't
I'm
really
surprised.
skate, so
I'm surprised you've never played football.
my mom was
Just your
against it.
body
She's like,
type is
"Why?"
huge.
Yeah, she's like, my mom was like, "Why?" I think she like foresaw like
Concussions
just
and all
how
that.
concussions and stuff, and she's like, "You don't want to get into that." Like, so she kept me out of it, and everyone was always like, "You should play football." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." It's like my mama won't let me. My mama says it's the
My
devil.
mama said, yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
just like avoid the football, but like did like other things like some Thai boxing and stuff, like just fun stuff to do.
Sure.
And yeah, just I don't know, playing the game. Like as soon as they got away from the arcadey feel and went more for like simulators experience, it just wasn't for me. Like the most interesting sport game I've seen is like Rocket League, and like I don't know, I'm not against like competitive game. Like I would like separate them there. Where like I enjoy a good competitive game. Like I got into like League of Legends, or like I'll play like Apex, or I'll play like a battle royale type game or whatever. But like as soon as it gets to like sports, like a set team, like even like games like Overwatch, where like that's kind of one of the reasons why like I feel like I can't really climb in that game is like if you get bad teammates, like it is the most frustrating thing in the world. Where it's like, and then I feel like most games like you can learn from like your own mistakes and like keep improving, and people will just say like you'll naturally like climb, like rank doing that.
Yeah.
And you will, but like you have to invest so many hours to do that because like you're trying to get just like a edge out like a 60% win rate. And when you lose like almost 50% of the time because of like things that are outside of your control, it is like super frustrating. It's one of the reasons why I stopped playing like League of Legends as well. Because like you get to like a certain mechanical skill set where you're like, all right, the fastest way to do this is to find other people who want to also climb and like improve, so like we can come up with strategy and like talk about like what to do and like almost come up with plays and stuff. Whereas like I don't really feel like you get that sense with like most of the sports genre games, where like the players you're playing with are mostly AI, where like you're hard capped at like your AI's behind the scenes stats. And like I know you can like boost or whatever. They've gotten into like team management sims and stuff now where you can do creative players and you create like a dream team of players you want to play with. But it almost feels like cheating at that point, if that makes sense. Where you're like, I just want to juice my AI side to the best mechanics, and then we're gonna win every game, despite like my good or bad play. Like you're basically watching two bots play the game at that point, right?
I will say, I haven't played a sports game like put put many hours into a sports game in some time, probably about 5-6 years now. I was really into the NBA 2K series from 2K11 till about 2K16. Then the microtransaction heaviness and just the never improving on the netcode really shot that series in the foot for me personally. And I decided to even though I still enjoy it. I've played a couple of matches with like my buddy Big Puffer, and shout out him, and I still enjoy the game. But knowing that I'm gonna get shot in the foot from the microtransactions or just time, I just don't want to put that in, Um, I will say that sports games are probably the absolute easiest to translate into a video game because you're already playing a game, right?
Yeah.
Right. The big thing that ruined it is the monopolization of each sport.
By like a different big AAA
EA
developer.
has the NFL license. There's no other way you can make a football game unless you want just no players, and no one's going to buy a football game without real players. Even like the Blitz franchise, which is a game that's so much fun that I still play Blitz 2000. Like just randomly. Blitz is amazing, and no one's buying a new Blitz because you can't play with modern players, and that's just the sports gamer's mindset. Like they want to play with people they know that they're watching
the name
right now.
recognition. Yeah,
exactly.
There's something about that. Like I don't know. Like to me, it's never really mattered. Like I don't watch sports either in real life, either
Right.
except for like the UFC sometimes. And I
Right.
look at sports almost like we're talking about like a sandbox interface for like my friends. Where like I don't mind like watching sports as long as it's like with my buddies. It's usually like to facilitate a bigger social interaction with people, where we're all like taking sides or whatever, and everything becomes a little bit more interesting if you put a little cash on the game too.
True.
So if you put
True.
not a lot either, like you put $5 out, also it becomes exponentially more interesting, like what's happening on screen. But like it's fun to just like hang out and talk with people.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like I do that anytime. So
Yeah.
I've always looked at like real life sports as that, and like you don't even get that big of a social aspect, I feel, with most sporting sim games that are out on the market. But and then the ones that are out there, like I don't really want to grind to get better at. Like I don't know, like I know like I can keep improving mechanically at a thing, but like at a certain point, like you're just like I need to put in raw hours to climb this endeavor, and like I don't want to do that time commitment. As I get older and my time gets more finite, as I get inch closer to the abyss,
dark abyss of that. Yeah. I think with sports games, man, like I'm never gonna convince you to play one. But I think there's a general mindset of a lot of what I would classify as like the classic hardcore gamer, saying sports games aren't real games and it's just the same game every year, with little iterations. Sure. But at the end of the day, they're still games, there's still fun to be had in them. And I like people are like, oh, why are you playing this? It's like, cause like it's the same thing, but everyone knows the rules. That's like a big plus about sports games. Like if I go to a party or whatever, and people happen to be playing games, right? If it's not a shooter or something, more than likely it's going to be like a Mario Party, Mario Kart, or a sports game of some sort. Because even if you've never played it before in your life, if you know of that sport, generally how to play, right? Like,
right.
Generally what the goal is. If you're playing like FIFA, kick the ball into the other goal, right? If you're playing hockey, shoot the puck into the goal. If you're, it's
like rhythm games like picked up for that reason, I feel.
And
then
like
they got like done to
stuff.
death, but like but it was like a shared language amongst anyone who's like sees it at a party. You're like, oh, what do you do? Oh, you hit the thing when the thing. Okay, I could do that. And then, like you're all sitting out and like just jamming out, having a good time, and just enjoying the thing that's happening. But man, there's definitely a shared social aspect of like a shared language of like a rule set that you can see somebody playing like a ping pong game and you're like, oh, I know how to do this. I could play some air hockey or some pool with people. Like I generally understand this. So man, like I get it. I get the fun in it, but like as for like something like I would go out of my way to play by myself, like it's not happening. Same with like watching like sports where I'm just like I don't want to go out of my way to like invest. I would say I'd probably watch football if they got rid of replays and commercials. If they could get the game down to like just like the hour experience, I'd probably enjoy it like infinitely more than like trying to watch it.
There was this amazing YouTube channel that keeps getting taken down and I can't follow it anymore just because it keeps changing names, where it would do exactly that. It would cut out every commercial, every stoppage of play, and only be just the action. And the videos were like 20 minutes long because that's how much action's actually in a football game. So it's incredible. But
cable channel that was also doing that. Like somebody was like, oh, you'll just pay for this. And I'm like, I'm good, dude.
Like, but, that's there's to be said. I think with something like basketball is, for me, is the most exciting sport. People are like, oh, there's so many stops for fouls and stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it's the individual player showing off their athleticism and you see their faces, right? Every other, like outside of basketball and soccer / football, depending if you're not in the US or not, you could see the players' faces. And I think that, is easier to follow because
is football rigged?
Yeah, probably. But
I mean, like that's I try to bring up this point to people and like they're like, no, it's not. It's impossible to rig. And I'm like, it's owned by a bunch of billionaires. Like the refs like have been known to take bribes. Like I don't put it beyond like the scope of possibility that like
that could be said about all sports though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they're all owned by billion. Like I'm pretty sure most major sports are rigged after they like they switched also to sports entertainment as well, and they're all nonprofits. So they have like these huge tax advantages, and because it's sports entertainment, like they don't have to be beholden to like rules and regulations that like sports leagues do. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like the last semi-honest sport is probably like fighting, but like even that, like the
Even then, it can take
Vegas
dives and
commission,
stuff.
like if you looked into like the history of like boxing commissions and stuff, where like
it's the most corrupt sport of all time.
Yeah. So it's like if it's happening in like one of the honest sports where like you get punched in the face, like it's probably happening in like these where there's like multiple like cheating instances have been like exposed over the. I don't know. I'm just putting out that as well. Like,
that's a whole
I'm pretty sure like
but...
most major sports are there's some fuckery afoot.
I think there's fuckery afoot in any organized thing that you ever will join into, you know.
But as soon as it gets into like the
of humanity,
as soon as it becomes like millions of dollars at stake, like I would say even like sports gaming for esports, I feel like there's a lot of tomfoolery. There's a lot of drugs that people are taking to enhance performance. And like I would say this back in the day, people are like, oh, there's no way. And like now it's like, yeah, it's becoming more and more exposed.
Popping Adderall and stuff.
Yeah. I was like, look at them. They're on the beta blockers, dude. This team just won $1 million and they're not excited at all, dude. Like, how, dude? Like, if I won $1 million, I'd be losing my mind. I'd faint, dude. I'd be like, oh, like, this is crazy. I can't believe we did it, team. These guys are just sitting there like stone-faced killers, like, just another day in the office. It's like, yeah, dude, they're like on so many like drugs, like it's crazy.
There's drug testing for esports now. They didn't used to be, but now there is, and I think it's one of the things to legitimize that. I think, and I'll say this, like with sports games in general, I think you will get more enjoyment out of it if one, you play the sport, or two, you follow the sport. Basketball I played, I watched, like when I got into ping pong, the first time I ever watched the ping pong in Olympics was me playing it, and I was more interested in that. And I got to witness the nuance in the types of shots they were doing and stuff like that. So once you show appreciation for a certain sport or event, you will show appreciation in watching that or participating in the greater sporting community. Even people like famously Rick Fox and his son with Echo Fox, right? Rick Fox wanted to connect with his son, started watching League of Legends stuff, learned about it, learned like actual League of Legends, like call outs, team lineups, stuff like that, and started to see the mechanics of it. And he goes, oh, this is legit. Right. So I think in anything, if you get into like that level, you will find enjoyment in it. And if you don't find enjoyment in that with sports games, with the other mediums for it, I can understand not liking them. And I can understand not liking the yearly releases. But I will say that,
the corruptions, I don't know. I
will say
the drug abuse, the rampant bribery
at a casual level. It's the easiest medium to turn into a video game.
People doing the real life pay to win with the buying players and the contracting and basically making super teams that are unbeatable. So it's
funny if you really like statistics and stuff, and you like people who are into like fantasy football, fantasy basketball, like, and esports has fantasy leagues too. Like there's fantasy Counter-Strike, there's fantasy Overwatch, there's fantasy League of Legends, most famously. You can get into like football simulator, the sports simulator games, and it's the same shit, just a bunch of statistics to your heart's content. Building a super team purely through Moneyball tactics is actually incredibly fun. There was before I had mobile gaming, that was actually worth it, and like the Nintendo Switch and the DSs and stuff. I remember just doing statistic-based like basketball stuff all the time. Just like, I just did this team and just watched the stats go. That was super fun for me. So there's something to be said about that.
Yeah, like I enjoy like 4X games, like where you like build out.
Yes, same
it's
shit,
the same shit.
Yeah.
Sure. Simulator. I've enjoyed like Romancing the Kingdoms.
Romancing the Kingdoms. I was just gonna say that we both enjoy those games. They're great.
I guess that's
all
my sports game of choice, is like waging war in ancient China.
For sure. But yeah, man. So those are the two game genres like neither of us really care for. I don't think we'll probably mention some things on this podcast, on this channel, but I don't think we'll ever go in depth on either one. I think
it's not for us, and that's okay. Like I understand like the fun and like the social aspects and everything else, but like for both the games. But yeah, I think maybe it's also part of just getting older as well, like where it's we have limited time as well, and like both those genres require like a huge time investment from multiple people. Where it's like, you know, for like a sports game, like you probably want like a minimum of like 4 or 5 people like to be like on your team, like for like something like Overwatch or League of Legends, or you know, even like you're picking up like, I think like most basketball, football games, like you just need like your own personal time commitment. But like you know, and then like for survival games, like again, you're probably gonna want like 4 or 5 people minimum to like build out a world with you to like truly enjoy it and like get like something out of. And like most of us don't have like friends that can spend like 40 hours a week like
On
dedicated
yeah,
to like a single game at this point.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah, I think like that's really what it boils down to for us as old people.
Some
Boomer
truth to that.
gamers.
There's definitely some truth to that. All right, man.
I don't
I
even
think
play
that
sports in real life, bro. Like, I'm like, am I getting paid for this? I'm not going to risk my body trying
I
to play
still
a
play.
pickup game of
Yeah,
volleyball
I
that
still
we're
play sports in
drinking.
real life. It's harder with family and stuff, but if someone hits me up for basketball, I'm going. If tennis, you know, like I said, ping pong, I just got into. You know, shit. Stuff
Your
like
beer
that. You know,
league,
you know, I love disc golf, dude. That's like my favorite shit.
yeah,
So
man.
people are like, "That's not a sport." Fuck you. It's amazing. You know, I actually
Golf's a sport.
it was my goal to get into traditional golf. Like next year, just because there's a course next to me, and I'm like,
Okay.
well, why not? You know, why not give it a go? Why not suck
Yeah.
ass at it for a while and then learn it and get good? It's just one of those old people sports where I feel it's a nice thing because eventually I feel as if you're a male and you know your athleticism starts to fade as you get older, you'll eventually turn to golf at some point if
Yeah.
you're into sports in general.
It's a thinking
Um,
man's game.
exactly. So I'd like to learn it. So we'll see. We'll
It's
see.
about control, precision, all the things you need as an older gentleman.
Right, and that's just going to the bathroom. Control precision. All right, man. Well, I think that does it for this week, dude. Good talk. Good talk. I am Mr. Gimpy. It's Chipmunk.
Chipmunk.
We will see you guys next week. Sound off in the comments below.
Subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. What genre
Yeah.
do you absolutely hate and why?